Hey everyone, it's Nick and I'm back. I know it's been a few days because I have other things going on, and yesterday and today I've been paying more attention to the election, but I think we know how this is gonna go. But remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell button. But I'm not even gonna do an intro this time because I'm here to rant right now. It's about my New York Giants, and truth be told, I did expect this team to suck. It's not like I really had high expectations to begin with, but this is particularly about Daniel Jones. I'm sorry to say it, but the guy's a bust, and he was a mistake to draft to begin with. The only joy I've really gotten out of drafting him, besides his debut, was this meme right here. But for real, I am not happy with him at all. Now, before people go crazy, I'm not blaming everything on him. He doesn't have a legit number one receiver, which was the problem with trading Odell, and Saquon's injured with a torn ACL. By the way, both of them, I'm wishing for a speedy recovery. I hate to see both my favorite players go down like that. But anyways, Daniel Jones. And also, he doesn't have the best offensive line. However, he makes the offensive line look worse than they really are by holding on to the ball too long. This was a problem last year, and it's still a problem now. Now, in my last NFL video, I shouted out Brett Coleman, I think 3 times, and I'll shout him out again because he did a breakdown on Daniel Jones during the offseason about what's good about him and what's not good about him, and to be honest, the not good things, they haven't changed, and it's very disappointing to me as the guy that the Giants drafted to succeed Eli Manning. And also Dave Gettleman, he's got to go. He's overstayed his welcome, and he's made some good moves, but the bad definitely outweighs the good. So yeah, Dave Gettleman, he's got to get out the door. Now, last year, Daniel Jones' stat line of 24 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? And also with over 3,000 passing yards, so yeah, that's obviously impressive. But there's more to it though. A lot more to it actually. He was sacked 38 times, this year 23, and I'm not going to say the offensive line is good because it's not, but Daniel Jones makes them look worse than they really are by holding on to the ball too long. At the NFL level, you got to get rid of the ball a lot faster, and in year 2, he still hasn't been able to do that. And I also have to point out that last year, his completion percentage was just 61.9, which was just 24th in the league, and this year, it's just a hot mess. Now, usually he does have good arm accuracy, just not great arm strength. However, Monday night against the Bucks, he was missing open receivers left and right. He completed just 25 out of 41 passes. The not so fun fact of the day, only Ryan Leaf has turned the ball over more in his first 20 starts than Daniel Jones in his first career 20 starts. Yikes. At least Daniel Jones doesn't have any maturity problems as far as I'm concerned, at least definitely not to the extent that Ryan Leaf had. But Daniel Jones is a turnover machine, and many of his sacks are actually avoidable with his mobility if he just had the awareness and if he could get rid of the ball faster. He actually didn't fumble on Monday night though, which is pretty surprising, especially because the Bucks are usually a good defense, but they didn't play that good on Monday night. Daniel Jones just gave the game away. He did throw 2 interceptions though, and those 2 interceptions were just really, really bad. And he's lucky it was only 2. Now, if you watch the highlights, I did that before writing the script. At the 5:16 mark of the condensed game, it was the second quarter, 3:27 left. He completed a pass to Sterling Shepard. They got the first down. However, he threw behind Sterling Shepard and made Sterling Shepard stop his feet. Had he hit Sterling Shepard in stride, Sterling Shepard definitely could have gotten some extra yardage, but he didn't. Maybe I'm just nitpicking here, but this was just one of a few plays that could have been better, but it was just not a good throw by Daniel Jones. Now, I'm not going to say that they should have scored a touchdown on that play, but if you go back and watch that clip, you see that it was not a great throw by Daniel Jones. First down, nice, but you could have gotten more out of it. But now, those 2 interceptions, especially that second interception, now this is definitely not nitpicking because those were just really bad. That first one, I would have rather him try to run with it because he's definitely mobile enough. But instead, he threw it to a receiver that wasn't there. And the second one, the play was dead. Either throw it into the ground or take the sack. I would rather you get called for intentional grounding than give the other team the ball. Like, just don't make a bad situation worse. Now, at the end of the game, that pass to Golden Tate, that was beautiful. I'll give him that. But then the 2-point conversion attempt, whether that should have been called a flag or not, if Daniel Jones threw that ball more to the sideline so that Dion Lewis wouldn't stop his feet, the defender would have had no chance of getting there, and it would have been a successful 2-point conversion. Sure, you could say that was a pass interference, but still, I'm more upset with Daniel Jones completely misplacing that ball and making Dion Lewis stop his feet. The Bucs really didn't play their best game. Brady wasn't really all that on Monday night. In fact, the defense held the Bucs down pretty good. The Giants' defense this year is actually pretty good. Well, other than on third down, but for the most part, they've been really good. Blake Martinez actually leads the league in tackles right now, and James Bradbury, he's done a really good job on other teams' best receivers all season. He held his own against Mike Evans, held him to just 55 yards, and as unhappy as I am with Dave Gettleman, I'll at least give him credit where it's due. He at least got a good defense on this squad, and Jabril Peppers, he's also done pretty good himself. As much as I really wish they didn't trade Odell, at least Jabril Peppers is actually doing pretty good for this defense. It's really the offense that has this team at 1-7 right now. It's not the defense. The Bucs kicked 4 field goals and punted the ball 3 times, and the Giants still lost because their offense was terrible and Daniel Jones was just missed open receivers left and right, turning the ball over. Daniel Jones deserves the blame for this one. I do approve of this coaching staff though. My initial reaction to Jason Garrett being hired as the offensive coordinator was not good, but you know what, I'm starting to like him now. At least he can do it when he's only in charge of play calling and not in charge of everything. And I do like Joe Judge. Joe Judge has done a really good job, despite what the record says. At least the guys are playing hard under him. But the players, they just shoot themselves in the foot. Plenty of these games are winnable games, and they just found a way to shoot themselves in the foot, like last week with Evan Engram, dropping a pass that I know I could have caught. But now, because this video is mostly about Daniel Jones, I also just want to make this clear. I don't wish any harm on him as a person, and I actually do want him to succeed because he's my team's quarterback. I want him to prove me wrong, but he's just not. But now, if anyone watching this is sending him death threats by any chance, I haven't heard of that yet, but in case anyone is, please stop. That's not cool. Let's not go that far. Yes, I know he's not playing well, but death threats are not necessary. If you're doing that, I just can't respect you as a person. Criticizing his play on the field, though, that is definitely warranted because he's not playing well. And I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback because he's not reading defenses the way a franchise quarterback should. And I don't want to hear the excuse that he's young because look at Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. They're rookies and look at what they're doing right now. And I know at least Justin Herbert does have Keenan Allen to throw the ball to, but still. Daniel Jones, he's just making some really costly mistakes, just ill-advised plays every single game, and I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm pretty confident that he's not the guy. At this point, as much as I hate tanking, especially knowing it's the 4th year in a row that the Giants have been really bad, I guess you may as well at this point because winning the division isn't really going to get you anywhere. You're going to be a guaranteed wild card exit and then be drafting in the 20s. And I think that the division is the Eagles to lose right now, but not impressively at all. And unless you're a delusional Eagles fan, I'm sure Eagles fans will tell you themselves that they're winning this division because this defense sucks, not because they're actually a good team. Now, if the Giants do win out from here, which I know they won't, that could actually get them the top spot in the division, but is it really worth it? And besides, we know they're going to get annihilated by the Seahawks, and they're probably going to lose to the Ravens and Cardinals too. The divisional games are actually a toss-up, but maybe they'll win 1 game, maybe they'll win 2. Cowboys is actually a pretty winnable game because they're just a mess. Now their offense sucks too because they have no quarterback, and we already know the atrocity that's going on with their defense right now. But am I going to celebrate those wins? No, absolutely not. There's nothing to celebrate about this team. And with the Eagles, we know the history of the rivalry, and yeah, it's not something that I like to think about. Now, I did just get the word before recording that the Giants just signed Dante Pettis, we'll see how that plays out, but he won't make his debut until next week. He is pretty fast, but he's not a #1 receiver, that's for sure. No more than anyone else on the squad. But outside of the Seahawks, Ravens, and Cardinals, the Giants' remaining schedule, it's actually not that tough, but still, at best, I can see this team finishing 5-11, but most likely more like 3-13 is what I think is gonna happen. But that's the end of this video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you like basketball, my next video, I'm planning to count down the top 10 prep to pro NBA players of all time, so stay tuned for that. That's it for now, and I'll see you next time.